Welcome back to another episode of the Protein Bros podcast. I am your host, Jeff Wasserman, and with me as always, my co-host, Kyle Combs.
What's going on, guys?
And as we talk to you here now, we sit in our newest Supplement Superstores location in Blue Springs, Missouri. Wanted to get an episode in, but we were also working our tails off, honestly, trying to get this bad boy ready to go because we are opening it tomorrow.
Number 7.
Must be fun, Luke, to just be sitting over there, not having to work, just being behind the camera. If you guys aren't on our YouTube channel, absolutely subscribe and check it out. If you want to see the new store, it's pretty cool.
So, number 7, and it's also, last week was our 5-year reunion.
5-year anniversary, some would say.
Yeah. Guess it wouldn't be a reunion.
Reunion. It was a reunion as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. We came together.
We came together.
Yeah. It was our original staff, Kyle and Jeff, and you know what?
And Kyle and Jeff.
R.I.P. to my dog who was with us on opening day, Wilbur. But our original crew still here.
That is true. So, man, we're 5 years in. This is our 7th store. My question would be: did you expect us to have more or less stores by now? And how do you feel about being in business for 5 years?
It's a great question. First thing I would say is I think we had a goal right off the bat to get to 8 locations. And so honestly, I'm a little disheartened. I was really anxious to have 8 locations in 5 years. And, we had that global pandemic that kind of, slowed things down.
Just not the best situation for retail in the last couple of years.
That's true. Some would say that was a really bad move for retail. We did pretty well. We did okay. Appreciate everybody's support. But it's also difficult to forecast, right? So if you're trying to hire on new staff and grow with them and teach them and so on and so forth, hard to do that when you don't know what's about to happen or what's coming. So a lot of people took, I feel like, a pause on their growth, on trying to reach for more or try to grow with a company because they didn't know where that company was going to go or where it was going to be or how it was going to go whenever the pandemic was over. So I think that really put a little pause on us. But as far as, we have nothing to complain about. My God, nothing but gratitude. I'm super stoked about our 7th location tomorrow. But I would say I honestly wish we would have had 8. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah, I agree. This store that we're sitting in, like many of our other stores, I woke up one day and I realized, we had a lot of shopping pressure coming from the Blue Springs area to our Lee Summit store and to our Liberty store, and I knew that it would make sense for us. I got up out of bed, drove over here, and this was the first spot that I saw. As soon as I got off I-70 onto Adams Dairy, I turned right, and this was the first spot I saw. And we've had a couple of locations like that. It felt, what's the word, serendipitous?
Serendipitous, absolutely.
Serendipitous.
Just came to us,
yeah.
You know what I mean? And, it's crazy. Some of our favorite locations are like that. I know Liberty was like that. One of our own customers helped us find Lee Summit. Zona was also just same concept, same exact story as you. I woke up, drove up there. We were having a hard time finding any places up in that area. And we called on a spot next door to Subway where the Zona location is now. And we were going to go next door to Subway. And when we called on them, they said, well, there's a new development we're building right in front of that. So all of that frontage, all of that like visibility that you think you're going to have, there's going to be a big building right in front of it. And we're like, is there any availability in on that new construction?
They're like, why? Yes, there is.
Yeah, and it was on. You know what? Like, that was a really hard one to get. To be honest, that took a lot of time. So.
Yeah, when I think about the last year, and I think, it feels like yesterday that we opened Zona, but Zona's about to be open for 2 years.
Would it be 3 years?
No, it's 2 years.
Yeah, you're right. It'll be 2 years in February.
It'll be 2 years in February.
Gosh, our Shawnee store just hit a 4-year anniversary, too.
Mm-hmm.
We almost opened up that one, like, to the day, almost a year anniversary, like, to the day of our Overland Park store.
What do you think the most difficult thing that we've ran into in the last year has been as business owners?
You know what? I'm going to probably give you a different one. I think most people here would say staffing and trying to grow because a lot of people are having a hard time finding help. You see the now hiring signs all over the country right now, and that's kind of the climate we're in. But I would say mine's personally was a little different. I felt like, seeking out a challenge and feeling complacent maybe at times, just because, when you start replicating locations and you open up your 6th location or you're getting ready to open up your 7th location, it feels like, rinse and repeat mentally sometimes. It's obviously a challenge. It's obviously, tough to do, but it wasn't something that I hadn't tackled before. And I'm so used to challenging myself and doing different things and going into different things. And so, I did that Airbnb this year. Just getting my feet wet in a different arena was just something that I felt like I needed to do just to keep myself mentally sharp. But I would think that was my actual biggest challenge, was just feeling inspired,
Yeah. We've talked about this before, but the complacency, when you're dealing with customers all the time, it's hard to get that complacency and you don't really lose your mental edge.
Never.
So for me, doing this podcast has really been something that I've enjoyed, because they're similar to conversations that you'd have in the store over and over and over again. And, there's a lot of time that I miss, the interactions and the friendships that you make in the store with people.
Oh yeah.
So,
oh my gosh.
I mean, that's for me what can lead to complacency. A lot of times we're in a hurry to get out of the place that we're in. We have these grandiose, ideas as to what life's going to be when the next step comes, and we start looking to the future instead of
it'll be different when different when,
instead of actually just sitting back and realizing that every stage of life there's things that there's aspects of your job, there's aspects of what you're doing that are enjoyable, and if you just slow down and quit looking to the future, you can actually enjoy them.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, I mean, that for me,
the present is called that for a reason, right? It's always the go-to saying, but it's real. It's true. You're sitting in the present because it is a gift. You really should really enjoy it.
Yeah. So, what do you see? What do you see for 2022?
Well, I want to start with the
end
protein.
Of pandemic forever.
Oh man, not
Omnicron is here though.
Is that even how you say it?
Omnicron.
Is it Omnicron or is it Omicron?
Or maybe it's Omicron.
Is it Omicron, or is it Omnicron with an M?
I'm over it, man. I can't keep up with all of it.
Yeah, maybe if I get my 5th booster shot, I'll be good.
No, you probably will be. You actually have a crazy immune system. Your immune system is...
It's true. I never get sick.
Or you're just always in a constant state of kind of sick, which kind of fends things off.
It's possible as well. You know what I mean? Just, never wash your hands. You'll be good. So
this is seriously what they should be on TV talking about.
My immunity is just crazy.
All Americans need to stop washing their hands right now.
Yeah, man. I will tell you this. Next year, I'm looking forward to expanding on this podcast, bringing on awesome new guests. And honestly, if you're listening, this is what we're looking for, I think, out of this podcast more than anything, is wondering what you guys are wanting more of when it comes to 2022, when it comes to the Protein Bros podcast. We have some really cool guests that we're planning on bringing on. We've been talking a lot about food lately. Maybe we might bring that in as far as favorite protein bar, favorite protein cookie, whatever it may be, and arguing over it, because we seem to do that well.
Yeah. Yeah, we argue over things pretty good.
That's true. We're very different dudes.
When it comes to guests that we have on the podcast, I want to, my goal would be to branch out and talk to people that are in maybe different parts of the fitness community that I'm not as well versed in. Obviously, we've had bodybuilders, we've had CrossFit, we've had gym owners, but reaching out and getting to know people who are in different sports or different parts of fitness would be a goal of mine for 2022.
Sports performance coaches, I think, would be cool. I mean, we just had Eric and Alyssa Phillips on, who were chiropractors. Yeah. I thought that was really cool, because it definitely mixes into the fitness space as well. I think there's a lot to be said about class instructors. They have so much influence. Some of the class instructors at local gyms have the biggest followings.
That's true.
Locally of anybody we know.
Yeah.
We haven't had any of those on yet. Any names come to mind to you that you want to see on here?
I mean, not off the top of my head. We obviously have a list of people that we think would be good candidates, but not, anybody outside of that list that I can think of.
So we'll keep it a secret. Sounds good. I
think, so I guess what would be your personal goals for 2022?
I haven't really thought about that all the way. I think that as the year ends, and I would say that I'm guilty of not making that a priority so much as
What's on your vision board?
Trying to get this store open. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I had a fucking kid, and then we got this store open, and we also did the Big Brothers Big Sisters event. It feels like I haven't been able to like sleep well, and then I also have had so much going on that it's hard to decompress and take myself away from the busyness that's been going on.
I'm hosting my first Christmas this year. I have my family come out, and they're going to stay with me at my house, and I've honestly had to travel.
Listen, guys, when Jeff's going to glaze right over that, but here's the truth about Jeff and Christmas. When Jeff says he's hosting Christmas, this is the guy that when I met him at like 19 years old, I went over to his apartment, and I walked into, imagine this, a 19-year-old kid's apartment, and he has blow-up like Santa Clauses in his apartment. He has more decorations for Christmas than I've ever seen. I was like,
there's tons of heterosexual
fuck is going
males.
On? What is going on in here? And you told me it was Santa's Wonderland. Is what you call it.
Santa's workshop.
Show
some respect. So
when he says he's hosting Christmas, it's not just a little deal. I can only imagine what your house is going to look like.
We had some so our bedroom doors were covered in wrapping paper as giant presents. So we had a fireplace that we bought specifically just so we could hang our stockings from it.
And he had a huge portrait of Saint Nick right above that
fireplace,
fake fireplace.
We also have a Christmas village. None of these things exist anymore, to be honest with you. It was a roommate, one of my best friends, Ryan, and I, who lived in the same apartment in college, and we went all out for it just because we thought it'd be fun, and it was awesome. But 2021 version of me. My girlfriend Hannah and I just did a Christmas tree, and she helped me decorate that, and then I put like a string of lit garland on the front of my house, and that's as far as I've gone, And I had an opportunity. If you're listening, I have the roof of my house is kind of like I don't know how to describe it. It's got artificial turf. It's like an outdoor area, right? Like a place that you could hang out on the roof of my house because I live in like a box house, if that makes sense. It's not a sloped roof. And so, anywho, I have an outdoor plug up there. Like, I legitimately thought, like, you know what? If I put an 18-foot, nutcracker on this roof, you could see it from the highway for sure.
No, you could see it from downtown. It would like overlook Kansas City. It'd be awesome.
For real, and it would be. And here's the thing: like, I definitely looked for one. And if it was more accessible, I probably would have bought it. But
that's probably something you can't buy that's residential. You have to venture into the commeral world to find something like that.
Which is funny because when I looked it up, there was actual balloons from like a Macy's Thanksgiving parade, like parade balloons. Like that's where I was getting into. When you go above 12 feet, like they start getting into that ridiculous like $1,000 for it. But I was thinking like, if I could get like anything over 12 foot, I thought would be really easily, visible or whatever. But if you are local to Kansas City, yesterday we had like some gale force winds.
So that would have been a bad deal.
That nutcracker would have been in like Illinois by now. Yeah, for real.
100%.
No chance.
I think, switching gears here, when I think about what I want from not just the podcast, but our business in 2022, the focus that I've been thinking about a lot, the things that I have been focusing on, I want to really put our employees that have been with us long term. I really want to do everything I can to continue to put them in the best position to be successful within our system. And that means, opening stores, other avenues of increasing revenue. And I also want to continue to give back to Kansas City. Those are the two things in 2021 that's made me feel the best about what we've done, is watching our employees grow, and then also doing fundraising efforts throughout 2021 with Big Brothers Big Sisters. Yeah. We also did the KC community where we gave back to local gyms and trainers. Both of those things, using our culture to help gather get together funds for people who need it. That means a lot to me, and that's something that I'm proud of us doing in the last year, and it's something that I want to continue to do going into the next year. So that would be basically what I see as far as in 2022,
Yeah.
things to expand on, things that I felt good about in 2021 and things that I want to expand on in the next year. We're always trying to get better as far as the company goes as well. We know that there's always room for improvement with our customer service that we deliver in the store. We know that we're not, perfect at podcasting either. I want to get better at podcasting and come up with better shows, better content as well.
Better jokes.
I have pretty good jokes, so,
Dude, we've sat down and talked about this a handful of times, and that's really where I feel like the decisions we've made together on, on the path of Supplement Superstores is, we really want to lean into our community and say, you know what, like we're going to do the things that no one else is willing to do, to have like a local retailer, to be able to, we raised $60,000 for Big Brothers Big Sisters this year, and it's like, who else is even doing, anything like that? You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's not to give ourselves a pat on the back. It's that like, it just makes me feel so damn good about what kind of, change we can make on a local level.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's something that, it's proven to be successful for us, and I love it, and we should keep doing it. And so it's just like, where can we go with this? Because the year before in 2020, to be clear, we raised $20,000. For local gyms and trainers. And it's like, it's only going to go up from here. And, what kind of impact can we make on different groups? And so that's actually part of what, we're looking for in the listeners of this podcast is to help us with, where do you feel like we should be putting our efforts? Where else? Because I think, Big Brothers Big Sisters is something that we'll always be passionate about. I think it's something that we'll always want to give to. But is there, places we're missing? Is there, gaps that we need to fill? And that's where we'd ask for your guys' help on that.
Yeah, and I think to add on to that too, it's, watching our staff come together and get behind it too, and be as passionate about it as we are really feels good as well. We have some of the best people that work for us. When you come into a Supplement Superstores and you feel like, damn, those guys actually cared about me, it's because they do, 100%. They care about people's results. They also care about the community. And I think that, that is something I'm super, super proud of. I can look back on this year and really, really be proud of the group of people, the core group of people that we have in this company. And we have a lot of, newer people that are great as well.
Yeah, man. I mean, obviously I agree. It's one of those things where from here on out, it's just a matter of what can we do really, like on your and I's end, what can we do to show the people that work for us, like, what's the best example we could possibly give them on giving back to the community, expecting the most from their peers, making sure that we're expecting more from each other in the sense of growth, on a personal level.
For sure.
Personal development is something we take really serious internally. Sometimes I get a little weird talking about it, with people outside of our company, just because it's just one of those things where sometimes I feel like we're the only ones that really care about stuff like that. You know what I mean? I know it's not true. It's just one of those things where I feel like I'm boring people when I'm talking about like, oh man, did you read this book? Or did you listen to this podcast, et cetera. But it's been cool to watch, kind of that culture take with the rest of our staff that work for us. And I see them introducing me to things that I hadn't heard of yet, showing me books I hadn't read yet, or showing me a podcast or a leadership podcast I hadn't listened to yet. And so it's been fun to kind of watch, the hardest thing in business for me personally since we started was trying to build out that culture to where it felt authentic, to where it felt like, we had a whole group of people who were wanting to better themselves, and they took that initiative on their own without us having to force them or lead them in that direction. They've kind of taken the reins themselves on it, and it's just something that I can say that I'm extremely grateful for and proud of watching. Like, wow, I got a text message from one of our core guys yesterday, and he was showing me a podcast he was listening to, and I was like, oh, damn, I didn't even know about that. Like you found that on your own. I didn't even have to show it to you. That's incredible.
Yeah. With leadership, it's just, whatever you do consistently, eventually is going to catch on with the people that follow you. And if you're doing it consistently, you're going to lose some people along the way. You're going to have people that might not believe, or they're in a different part of their life where they can't fully commit to something. But if you as a leader just continuously, do the things that you preach, which, for us is, we're constantly looking to personal develop. We're always trying to be disciplined. We're trying to be competitive. The things that we preach on a regular basis, we've just had, probably in the last couple of years, the right people kind of fall in love with that process the same way we love it, and they've basically trickled that down through the rest of the company, and it's been exactly what we needed as a culture. And I'm really proud of that. I'm really proud of the work that the guys have done to make that happen.
So yeah, and with that being said, we just hit our first, I'd say milestone in business, where when you hit that 5-year mark, there's some people that we really need to honor and give some serious credit and show them how much we care and show them how much that we appreciate them. And so we're going to be having our first, leadership and awards ceremony that will be like, I would say, like to the standard that we would always wanted them to have been. We've done award ceremonies in the past for our staff, and none of these awards are sales based. If you're listening, we do all of them are based on our core values. And so, we had a Be Selfless award. We had a Disciplined award. We had a Believe award, for example. And so this year we've been able to, open up enough locations and been able to save enough dough to where we can do it right, where they get to bring their significant others. All of our staff get to come, and they'll be wearing, suit and tie versus just, wearing a nice dress shirt, etc. And we're going to be doing it at the Rock Hill Grill. Super excited about it. It's got a great view on the 3rd floor. So in case you haven't heard that yet, staff, that's where we're going.
Here's a funny story about that real quick. So obviously in our corporate company in St. Louis, we've been doing these since 2011, I believe.
Yeah, and 2011.
2013 was the first year that they made it to where we had to wear suits. So at the time,
Kyle didn't wear a suit in 2011, but I did.
At the time, I was not. Let's say you could pack up all the clothes that I owned in like one bag, and it could have been a backpack. So I didn't have a ton of clothes. I didn't value that a lot back in the day. And so when we found out we were having this big awards banquet and it was going to be fancy and you had to wear a suit, I remember being like, dude, where am I going to get a suit?
Neither of us had a suit.
Yeah, I was like, where are we going to get suits? And Jeff's like, well, I'm pretty sure you can go to Goodwill and you can get a suit. So I walk into Goodwill. We walk into Goodwill, and the very first suit that I grab off the rack, I put it on, fits like a glove.
And it was a 3-piece baller suit. I'll never forget.
It was a beautiful suit. I bought it for $11. I wore it for the next 4 banquets in a row. It was awesome.
The DAV.
I literally still have it.
The disabled veterans thrift store in Springfield, Missouri.
Yeah,
$11 thrift store glory. Kyle found it, and it was the first thing he picked up. I wore one that wasn't nearly as good fitting. His looked baller on him. Mine was not as nice looking, but I did get 3 different thrift store suits over the course of the next 3 years just because of my different shapes and sizes I took on.
I obviously could have gone and bought a suit in that time frame, but yeah. I was so proud of it. I was so just like, this suit was meant for me.
It was. We had one suit night a year, so it was like, what are we doing? Yeah.
But I was like, I'm just going to keep wearing this suit for as long as I can.
So it was funny. Just this comes full circle. It's literally 10 years later, from 2011 on. We had we wanted to invite some of our staff that helped us raise the amount of money we did for Big Brothers Big Sisters, and some of our staff that were working the stores, they were helping collect donations through T-shirts to raise this money for Big Brothers Big Sisters, and we had them come out for this this big event where we were getting recognized for all the funds we had raised. They were freaking out, like, man, are we gonna have to wear a suit? Like, we don't have I don't have a suit, man. To be honest.
Bailey Strunk, who is our manager of our Liberty store, was like, I felt like I was having to be his dad. Like, here, son, this is how you this is where you go to get a tie.
He's like, I don't, man. Like, I don't think I need to go.
It's not gym shorts. It's not a gym short thing I can wear.
No, he's just like, man, I don't have any nice clothes like that. I was like, yeah, man. You know what I did for the first 5 years? We had to do anything with a suit. Just went to Goodwill. I'm not above that. Don't be above that. And obviously, he didn't freak out and he was good with it. But
he doesn't need to go to Goodwill, but
yeah, he did need to go to Goodwill.
He was just too lazy to have a suit, just like me.
They all went to Kohl's. Everybody went to Kohl's.
Kohl's is money, money spot. Hopefully, he brought a coupon.
Yeah,
you got to get a coupon if you're going to get a deal at Kohl's.
Talk to any woman, they got Kohl's Cash.
Kohl's Cash.
You got to have the Kohl's Cash.
Yeah, Jeff would know about the Kohl's Cash.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You trying to pay full price?
So, anyways, the last question I have for you, Jeff,
These are just all from the hip, aren't they?
They're just completely out of my ass.
Let's see. Yeah.
What, you got a better question? You got something you want to ask me?
Sure, absolutely.
Sure.
How long did it take you to come up with the name Sullivan for your firstborn son?
Ooh, Sully B.
Sullivan Bradley.
It was. This is anybody that has a kid. You know, Jeff hasn't gone through this yet, but when you have a kid,
I named my dog.
Yeah, that's true. You Google name lists, and then you just go through name lists, and you sit there with your wife, and you say,
hey,
"What about this name? What about this name?
I know,
what
but you're being bashful. You're not giving all the truth. What did you Google though? You didn't Google just name list. What kind of name?
Well, at the time I Googled 20 different name lists, but this one was a Southern name list.
Southern country.
Southern. Yeah, it was like Wyatt and names like that. And
we don't know any Wyatts, do we? Just kidding.
We got a great Wyatt. That
Shout out Wyatt.
Overland Park for us. He's got a beautiful mustache, a beautiful curly mustache. Anyways, yeah, it was basically when you name a kid, all you're trying to do is find a name that you and your wife have never met somebody who has that like. Name that is a douchebag. Yeah. And then you're like, okay, all right, we're on to something. We both don't know that name of a person. So, yeah, that's basically how we came up with Sullivan. And it was going to be my second daughter's name. But she ended up being a girl, and we didn't know she was going to be a girl until she was born. And then we were like, oh crap, we don't have a name for a girl.
Oh, you really thought you guys were committed it was going to be a boy?
Oh yeah, we were like in our heads. I was like certain that we were having a boy because of all sorts of different things along the pregnancy. But I was certain, and then she was born, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's a girl. And me and Kim didn't have a name for her for 3 days in the hospital. We were like on the last day, they're like, all right, if you want the birth certificate, you better figure out a name. And we had like a name of we had like a list of 5 names, and we were like, okay, Madeline, that works.
What's it's Madeline Louise?
Maddie Lou.
Yep. Maddie Lou.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Louise is a family name on Kim's side.
I didn't put so much thought into Groot's. He came to me with that. Groot was a rescue, and he was already named Groot. And so he doesn't have a middle name yet. Groot's just like one of those Beyonce type names.
Yeah, I was about to say, you can't even call him Groot Wasserman.
He's just Groot. Yeah, Groot by itself. And it's OOT. Apparently the one in Marvel movies is GRUT with like a little accent, like a horizontal colon on the top of the U, whatever that's called.
Yeah. I don't know, but when you go to, I guess, so your original question, how long did it take us to figure out his name?
Yeah.
Was that what it was?
You already had it in your pocket.
I already had it for like 2 years. And when we found out that we were actually having a boy, actually it wasn't 2 years, it was less than that. But when we found out we were having a boy, we went down the route of like, well, maybe we want to, name him something else. But then we kept coming back to Sullivan.
What was your second choice? You had one in your pocket. Teague?
No, Kim's favorite name is Luke. She really loves the name Luke.
What are the odds?
And I was like, well, we cannot have a Luke Combs. You know what I'm saying? Like it just doesn't work. We can't do Luke Combs.
Yeah, especially when it's spelled differently.
Yeah.
People wouldn't get it. Yeah, people wouldn't get it. Yeah. But no, that is crazy though. You know what? We met I met a guy who I had to ask him. He was in our store yesterday, and he introduced himself, and it was Okoye. And I said, Okoye? And he's like, yep, like Christian Okoye, the former running back of the Chiefs. And I was like, and you're named after him, right? And he's like, yep. And I was like, well, that's pretty dead obvious.
That's baller.
So, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's worse people to be named after than Luke Combs.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I
mean? My last question for you. So Christmas is coming up. Christmas is a very big deal to you.
As a Jew, of course.
Yeah, as a Jew, which everybody needs to know that Jeff, that Jeff is the most, he's the biggest fan of Christmas I've ever met who's also Jewish.
It's true. I'm also a big fan of Hanukkah. Yeah. Shout out, Judaism.
I've never known you to own a dreidel or
menorah.
Or a menorah.
I know you didn't know that word. It's okay.
No, I knew. I got a picture of you looking at a menorah.
It's true. The one in IKEA?
Yeah, the one in IKEA.
Yeah. My sister actually got a menorah this year.
You got me off the subject. I was going to ask you a question about Christmas.
Sure.
So your family's coming into town. Yeah. You're going to host Christmas for the first time.
Yeah.
What's the big present that you got for your parents or for your brother and sister?
My mom listens to this podcast, dude.
Oh, your mom listens? Okay, never mind.
I'm just
well,
saying.
I'll take that back.
I mean, genuinely.
What are you guys going to do then? What's the plan?
Well, I'm trying to take
Ice
him
skating?
out. Trying to take him out to dinner on Christmas Eve, somewhere nice. But most places are not that they're closed, because honestly, there's a lot of places open. But there's just a lot of
your lazy ass needs to cook.
Yeah, there's just, I mean, like, I want them to enjoy it, so I will not be cooking. But
You're
most
like, here's
places
some pizza rolls.
most places are taken up. Dude, I can make like 6 things well, and you know what? I take that after my mom. My mom's known for making 5 items. Like, she makes 5 items awesome. The rest of it is just, reading the instructions on the box like anybody else. But my dad would love it if we had like some king crab legs. That's his thing, or some like wood fire pizza. So we're trying to find either of those things, but. The thing that I would tell you that would be cool, that's actually like a good share, would be when I was growing up, we as a family, like, this is so my family and it's not so normal for other families, but we grew up with the TV on during dinner, and we did not have a TV off and everybody like talked to each other. That would be weird for our family. And so we all watched The Simpsons between 6 and 7 p.m. You'd watch like a full first episode, because there's back-to-back episodes on Fox, 6 to 7 p.m. every single night. We would watch the first episode together, and then we'd all like migrate into the living room to finish watching the second episode. And there, right? And then at 7, things would turn into like Friends or Seinfeld or whatever. But bottom line, my dad would always just be like, "We are the Simpsons," all the time. Like, he would love comparing himself to Homer Simpson and so forth, And anywho, there was a Instagram ad that popped up. I don't know if you guys got this one too, but they know. I guess they know me more or less, and they said there's like this Simpsons artist that can turn your whole family into a Simpsons character, right?
Oh, this is a good present.
So I found a group family photo of us, and this cartoonist turned us into Simpsons characters on the Simpsons, like the Simpsons couch, like the classic couch. And
That's
so
awesome.
I'm going to put that in like a nice, glass, frame for my dad, for them to hang at their house, and like it'll mean a lot to him for sure. So he's now officially a Simpsons character.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. How about yourself? What are you doing?
You wouldn't be surprised to know this, but I've never watched a full episode of The Simpsons.
What was your show growing up with your family? What did you guys all watch? You all had to watch something.
We didn't watch TV a lot.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Like I said, a lot of families don't.
I wouldn't say that I had a show that I watched with my family. It was movies,
Sure. We did movies as well, but it was like every night during dinner. Every once in a while, my mom would like force the TV off and all make us talk, but everybody just enjoyed watching The Simpsons, for real.
Yeah. As far as what I'm going to do over the holiday,
yeah. You got the family, like everybody's got to see the baby.
Everybody does have to see the baby, so that's about it. It's just running around. We're having people at my house, and everyone's going to see the baby, and that's about it.
Well, they're going to see all the improvements you made to the house too.
Yeah.
So that's going to be exciting.
Yeah.
You got your contractor lickety split just finishing everything up before everybody gets in town?
No.
Oh, so it's going to be like in progress, ...
Yeah, I mean, there's it's kind of like your house. It's a work in progress.
It's a never ending.
Yeah, anybody who's getting their house worked on right now or is tried to get anything done on their house knows exactly what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. It's taken about twice as long, and it's been a little bit more expensive than expected. So,
I'd like to say before we wrap this up that if you've been listening to us, since we began, I want to say I genuinely appreciate you. I thank you, appreciate your support, and we want to bring a lot of cool stuff into this podcast next year. We have some pretty cool stuff coming. We have some good ideas. We have some plans we're going to follow through on, but we'd also like to know what you guys are looking for. So please, send a message to our Instagram, our Protein Bros Podcast Instagram. We'd love to see what you guys, would like to see more of, hear more of. And as far as the reviews go, we're going to be doing a lot more reviews. We're going to be doing a lot of different products. And we're also going to be doing giveaways. So I want to make sure I highlight that too, because from now on, whenever we review something, if we enjoy it, we're going to want you guys to try it. And so we're going to be doing a giveaway for every single item that we review as well.
Yeah. I would say, to kind of wrap up 2021 and leave you guys with something that is on my heart a little bit is that, in 2022, if you listen to this podcast, the only thing that I ask is that you do everything you can to try and be a good person, to be a positive person, because there's so much shit in this world, and there's so much negativity, and there's so many people that are out there trying to scare the shit out of you, and the news is horrible. All these things are going on, political shit. do everything you can to be a positive influence on people. Look in your community, try and do good things in your community. And, that's my only request. That's my only plea going into 2022, because I think that, it's with all the crap that's going on, it takes, people, individuals like us that are, dedicated to trying to make the world a better place. And I think the more of that we have, the better off we all are.
Agreed, man. I think grace and positivity would be going hand in hand, and I want to highlight that too, to piggyback off what you're saying, because I couldn't agree more. Is that when you hear somebody else talking negatively, because I think in the fitness industry, unfortunately, there's a lot of ego involved. And I hope that you guys all take the time to preserve judgment on people, because I think everybody's been somewhere in their life where they would hope people wouldn't judge them. Excuse me. And I just say, give people some grace, man. Everybody's trying to figure it out. We're all trying to make it in this world. And I think everybody deserves a little bit of that as well. Everybody's trying to figure it out.
For sure. I agree.
Cool.
Thank you guys for tuning in to our little Christmas episode in store number 7. We really appreciate you guys. If you guys have been shopping with Supplement Superstores or listening to the podcast or in our circle in any possible way, we really appreciate it. You can follow us on Instagram. You can follow us on, you can listen to our podcast on any platform. And thank you guys. Hope
appreciate you guys.
Have
Love
a
you
good
guys.
Christmas and a good New Year.
Yep. Look forward to 2022. Appreciate you guys.
See you.